yeah.
was that first tour? Does it feel like 20 years? Does it feel like
Not
yesterday?
Really. Well, yeah, kind of. Doesn't seem that long.
How different are you from then and now? Like, if you met yourself from that tour,
I got a beard now.
did it take all 20 years to grow?
No. It's been like 6 or 7 years. No, actually, I don't. Not that different, other than just done a lot of traveling, put a lot of miles on.
Yeah. Are you the type of artist who wants to get better all the time?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you do that? What's that process like?
Well, for me, being a drummer, I mean, work on like out of books, you know, like rudiments and stuff like that, little sticking exercises. I mean, that's more of kind of just a mechanical way of getting better, you know, just doing muscle memory kind of stuff. As far as getting better, I think obviously the more you listen to, the more you try and expand your horizons, and the more traveling you do.
Oh, so you're saying you compare yourself to other drummers as well? Like, the more you listen to yourself, or the more you're listening to like other music?
You can compare yourself to other people, as in like, could I do that? Like, listening to somebody that you really admire, you think is like one of the best drummers or best musicians in the world, and listening to what they do, and you kind of try and put yourself in that spot of like, if I was in the studio, could I pull off what he's doing? Do I understand what he's doing? And it's not just understanding it by listening to it. It's also got to internalize it, and it's got to be able to come out mechanically.
Right. Who are some of those guys? Who are some of the drummers you're listening to where you're like, can I do that?
Oh, nobody would have ever heard of any of these guys.
I like it. Let's go. Give people somebody to look for.
My favorite drummer is a guy named Bobby Jerzonbeck.
Okay.
He is he's from San Antonio. He was in band. He's like a metal drummer. He was in a band called Riot, and he played in Rob Halford's band, which is the singer from Judas Priest.
Mm-hmm.
And then he played in my favorite band of all time, Fate's Warning, which is like a progressive metal band.
Yeah.
Actually, now he just got the gig. He's George Strait's drummer.
Oh, well, that's a little different.
Because he's also a country drummer. You know, doing all these metal gigs, he also, when he's at home, plays with country bands. So, yeah, he played with Rob Halford, the greatest singer in heavy metal, and then now he's playing with one of the greatest singers in country.
Wow.
So there's something to aspire to.
Right.
Could I
change
in that
genres?
Situation? Yeah. Could you just sit in there when they say, "Oh, I guess you're the drummer for the day," and like, could you pull it off?
Could you?
I don't know. I don't listen to enough country. Probably not. But then again, like country now, not somebody like George Strait, who's like a legend, a classic. But
right.
The stuff I hear of country now is like, it's just 80s arena rock.
Yes.
With a little twang or a little steel
pop
guitar
and twang, yeah.
But it's pretty much, I mean, and a lot of those 80s bands, those 80s metal bands, are all kind of going that way, because that's where they get shows. They play festivals in the middle of the country. And they're all kind of moving.
Yeah, it's the Bon Jovi business plan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is that how you got?
Go where your audience is, I suppose.
Is that how you got into music, like listening to those '80s arena bands?
It was a little before all that stuff happened.
Yeah.
I think it was AC/DC Back in Black. No, Kiss Alive 2. My dad was a editor. He used to work on what was it called? American Bandstand.
Really?
Don Kirshner's Rock Concert. And so he would always get promo albums from the record companies. So he brought home Kiss Alive 2, which was just, that's pretty much a gateway album for anybody at my age.
Okay.
And after that, I got into Queen, and then it was AC/DC Back in Black.
Okay.
And I was at a friend's sleepover. I was probably like 9 years old or something. It was my friend's birthday, but we had the 8-track, and we put it on, and we were all like pantomiming or pretending we were the band, and I was pretending to be the drummer. Oh, his little brother had one of those cheap little Sears kits.
Oh, I remember those.
Remember those ones with the little bass drum and had a little cymbal and a little. I mean, it wasn't like a real drum set by any means, but it was. But I was plunking around on that, and obviously I must have said something to my parents about it, because they signed me up for lessons.
Just like that.
I mean, probably not the next day, but obviously.
Well, it sounds like you were probably destined to be in music somehow if your dad was working in the business already.
Possible, but he wasn't really on the music side. He was just editing music, like Midnight Special for Don Kirshner's Rock Concert. So like those musical variety kind of shows. Man,
when you say editing, that was real editing. That wasn't like on the computer, like click, click.
Yeah, the actual tape. I mean, if you ever see Star Wars when they're about to destroy the Alderaan.
Nice. Good pull.
When they're going to destroy Alderaan, and then they show him powering up the laser or whatever.
Yeah.
That when he pulls that little thing, that's an edit bay. That was a shot of just an edit.
Oh,
bay.
really?
Yeah, because that used to be like this fader or something. I'm not. Don't quote me on
I
that.
like
one,
that though.
But that shot is definitely the desk of an edit bay.
Wow. All right.
Because my dad would go, I know that.
Just little infos. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. So you grew up in SoCal. Maybe you were destined, maybe not. But like, how did you? Once you started playing the drums, how did you manifest that love? Like, how did you find music? You know what I mean? Like you said, 8-track, and I was like, oh well, there you go. Like, you know what I mean? Like my first No Effects album wasn't an album; it was a tape that my friend recorded off of his brother's CD or whatever. You know what I mean? So how were you finding music when you were growing up?
Well, back then it was vinyl and 8-tracks. Cassettes were like they were still around, but it didn't become like where cassettes, like for you, probably for your age, it was like that was the medium when you got into music.
Yeah.
It was cassettes.
Yeah.
What a horrible medium.
Right?
That tape hiss.
Yeah, wait, that's the hiss.
There's no dynamics to it.
Somebody
or anything.
said that to me the other day. They were talking about the hiss, and I was like, that's one of the best onomatopoeias I've ever heard, because that's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's a tape
hiss.
That's
Yeah,
what they call it, a tape hiss. And then you'd have like Dolby, like noise reduction, where if you pressed it, you recorded the thing with the noise reduction. Then when you play it back with the noise reduction on, it somehow lowers that hiss frequency or something. But it never,
So do you have a vinyl collection? Are you a collector?
Yeah, I still got a lot of the records I got
Yeah.
when I was younger. I mean, they're all beat to crap. They're all scratched up. And they've all since been replaced by CDs, but you still can't really throw them out,
No way. And the covers are so beautiful.
That's a lot. That was kind of my criteria when I did a whole like tough love. I'm gonna get rid of stuff that I don't need.
You Marie Kondo'd your whole record collection. Which ones brought you joy?
Well, a lot of it was like, okay, I have this on CD, or this thing is scratched up, but the artwork is good enough to keep the album. Obviously, Iron Maiden records and
that's
most metal records and stuff like that.
Great.
And then other ones were kind of, that was the criteria of like, is the packaging just cool that you don't get on the CD, or is a gatefold with some kind of whatever game inside it or something. Yeah. So you just keep those for nostalgia's sake. But then
some people don't like that sound. Some people don't like the of the record playing.
Oh, really?
I absolutely love it. I think it's the best
thing. If you didn't grow up with it, I don't think you really...
Well, I guess, yeah. I definitely didn't grow up with it. I found...
Okay, so you don't... Yeah. For you, it's not this, like, warm...
No.
...feeling when you hear the static and the needle on the
now
thing.
That you say that, I don't know what it is about it. It just...
Well, there's a warmth to it. I mean...
It sounds real to me.
I would say for me, for someone like who grew up before CDs came out, yeah, there's like a nostalgic kind of warm feeling you get when you hear the needle pop on the record.
Yeah, oof.
Or you knew spots that were like where it was a skip on your album.
You had to move around it.
Or you'll never hear the song different. Like you'll always hear that skip whenever to this day you'll always hear what that skip was.
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. That is so true. I remember that being this case with those cassettes. Like if somebody messed up, like closed a door in the background, you always heard that closed door in the background. Yeah. Absolutely. So when you were starting playing drums, did you love it immediately? Was it like...
Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah. It wasn't like work or like, oh, I got to get good at something.
No, in fact, my parents, let's see, I was 10 when I did it. So my parents, because the first thing I did was a practice pad. I didn't start off on a drum set, which is, I think a lot of people do that, and it's not a good thing to do.
Why not?
Because you don't know what you're doing. It's like training wheels or a bicycle. It's like it's too much to like... Where rudiments, you start on a practice pad, you're learning right, left, right, left. You're basically learning your alphabet to start forming words, to start forming sentences. Basically, you can't speak sentences without learning the letters. Right. And your rudiments, little left, right, lefts, and paradiddles and accents and all that stuff. That's your letters, to form words. So I did that for about a year, and I guess my parents said I was into it. Most kids just go, oh, this is boring. Right. But that's the whole point, because if the kid gets to that point where he goes, oh, this is boring, he would have been bored with a drum set. And after the parents already spent, $1,500 on a drum set. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, started with that for about a year, a little over a year, until, my parents and my drum teacher kind of got together and were like, how, do you think he's ready for a drum set? And yep. So then I got a drum set, and then I just keep practicing.
And your parents were okay with it? Let's be honest. Drums are the loudest practice.
I know.
They were fine?
Yeah, yeah. Luckily, the house that we lived in, my mom still lives in the house, is there's like an extra room. There's like the main house, and then behind the garage there was like an extra room. So that helped out, having a room that was dedicated solely to like the drums. And then my older brother started playing guitar not long after I started playing drums.
Oh,
so
okay.
we kind of had like a jam room.
Nice.
We always called it the band room. To this day, it's still just referred to as the band room. So that, yeah, and also that was good because I had my brother, so we could play off each other, and we started learning Black Sabbath songs. I think other than Planet, we knew the entire album of Paranoid other than Planet Caravan.
Oh, wow.
And
so that was like your first band?
Yeah.
Cool. Was that the goal? Was the whole goal to play drums to get into a band?
Yes.
And get back to that sleepover at 9 years old? The joy?
So to speak,
The joy you found there?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I think when I first started playing, I definitely was like, this is what I'm going to do.
No marching bands? Did you do any of that stuff?
I did in junior high school.
Yeah.
I was in 7th grade. I did band for a year.
Did you like it?
It was interesting, yeah.
Yeah. Did you learn stuff? Like, interesting as in, like, it made you a better drummer?
Yeah, but that's stuff you don't really realize, I think, till later on. Because when you're in a, like that, like with the we did marching band, but it was also like, it was a school band. So you did orchestra stuff, you did marching band stuff.
Right.
And, it's a different way because there's like 3 percussionists. One person's playing the bass drum, one person's doing the snare, one guy's got the triangle or the cymbals.
Yeah.
So you learn how to play. You have to everybody's doing these small little pieces that all add up.
Right.
Into one big piece.
It sounds like your parents were really supportive of you being an artist. I know a lot of people whose parents were like, "What's your backup? Like, what else? What else are you gonna do?"
Yeah, but then you always hear the things people like. If you have a backup, then you're just setting yourself up
for failure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
In the back of your mind, you're going, "This isn't gonna work. I'll go do that." But
so, what was the first moment where you were like, "This is it. This is my thing. I'm gonna get in a band." Like, you know what I mean? Was it high school, junior high, where you knew this was going to be your career?
No, I wanted to be in a band. Yeah, so me and my brother were playing, and then in junior high school I was in like the school band, and then 8th grade I didn't rejoin the band. I think I probably started smoking weed around that time or something. So
that was a different.
It was definitely like, I want to be in a rock band.
That was a different time.
I was growing my hair long and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think that's why I saw AC/DC for the first time.
Music and weed have both changed a lot since then.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
So was your brother in the first like band that you were in? Like, I assume in high school.
Yeah, well, it was just me and him.
Yeah.
So, and then through high school, you have bands, but you have bands where all the positions aren't filled. Like me and my brother, he played guitar, I played drums. We had some friends who played guitar, so then my brother would play bass or something. And then I got in another band in high school with a friend of mine who played guitar, and we had a bass player, but we never had a singer. We tried getting guys to sing who we thought, well, you got long hair, you look cool, like you might as well try singing. Which I think a lot of singers end up discovering that they can do it because of that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until after high school when I got in a band called Wild West that was like older guys that were older than me. All the guys were like at least 3 or 4 or 5 years older than me. And like there was a bass player, 2 guitar players, a proper singer. I have a band. Now we have an actual band.
And that was after high school?
That was, right at the end of high school.
Did you ever have a desire to go to college or secondary school or anything like that?
No.
No?
No. I think I took a music appreciation course at some college that I might have gone to like twice or...
There is nothing more repetitive and ridiculous than music or movie or TV appreciation classes in college. It's crazy.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's just like, here's some really good music. Listen to it.
Yeah,
Tell me what you think.
I don't know, but I think I just did it because I thought that's what I was supposed to do. Or placate your parents or something.
I think that's why I went to college too. Yeah, you did it because your parents said it was.
But really, you're like, I'm gonna get out of high school. I'll be 18. I'm an adult. I'm gonna join a band and I'm gonna make it.
And so you were thinking like traveling minstrel type, like going club to club, or did you have huge dreams of traveling the world like you actually ended up doing?
Well, I think everybody hopes that what happens, or that's the dream. That's the
the holy grail.
Yeah. So finally had a band, and we were playing parties. Up until then, your band, like, we play parties. Somebody's parents would go out of town, you play a party. Those were your gigs. And then with this band was finally like play a club. We got a gig at the Troubadour.
Wow.
First place I ever played was the Troubadour.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
Well,
I like
we
that
still had to
place.
sell tickets and all that shit.
I mean,
it's
fair
like,
enough, but
It
like-
was at the pay-to-play time, so it's not like your band's so good. Come on in, boys. Like,
But you can
it's
imagine.
like, hey, you can give us $2,000 and you can play on our stage.
But you can imagine so many other great artists in that same building.
Sure.
That's not
That
normal.
was actually,
you know what I mean?
do remember when I was in like 8th grade. No, even before that. Yeah, 7th, 8th grade. But I used to look at, I think it was BAM, Bay Area Music Magazine,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe whatever the local rag was. But there would always be these ads for, the little strip ads for the Troubadour, and it was just all these metal bands that I loved: Armored Saint, Witch, Agent Steel. Omen, like all these bands that were on the Metal Blade records. So my thought was like, I want to move down and live across from the Troubadour, because it looked like it was just every single night there were those kind of bands playing. I was like, I want to get a place across from the Troubadour and just hang out there the whole time.
So how'd the show go?
It was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, it was really good.
Were you nervous?
Probably, but I'm not nervous in like. And to this day, people ask me, do you get nervous? It's like, you don't get nervous in that I'm gonna forget I'm gonna forget how to play drums. You just get like nervous of like, let's get it on, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get this thing over with. Not over with, but like,
Yeah.
come on,
Let's knock it out. Yeah.
Right.
What do you do? Anything that's like repetitive or like not? I guess superstitious is the wrong word, but like, you know what I mean? Is there something that you do that kind of calms you before a show?
Not really.
No.
Crack a beer.
Oh, that's always worked.
Yeah. No, I don't have any like super like rituals.
Okay.
Maybe I did in the past that I can't remember, and I think people do. You have some ritual. Oh, I got to be in my stage clothes, ready to go an hour before. But then you realize, you'll have something where you don't get to do that ritual.
Right.
And you show up like 5 minutes before you're supposed to play.
Yeah.
And everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's no different than any other time.
So what were some of the biggest challenges you guys ran into? You play the Troubadour, things go well, and then you're like, okay, what next?
Okay, so yeah, we do the Troubadour, and then obviously it's that pay-to-play time. It's like 89, 90. So that whole pay-to-play thing on the Sunset Strip was fully up and running. So we did, Troubadour, Roxy, Whiskey, Gazzari's. Gazzari's is where the Key Club, which is not the Key Club anymore, but that used to be a place called Gazzari's. And so we did all those stuff, and then, after a couple of years, the band, runs its course.
Right.
I think then grunge started coming in, or it just everybody started getting into, we were already into Jane's Addiction and Chili Peppers and stuff like that, but then, Primus and obviously music, everything just kind of shifted and changed. I still loved all the metal bands that I grew up with, and they were still putting out records, and I hate 90s music because people were like, oh yeah, the stuff you like is over with, and it's like, well, no, because they're still putting out records.
Yeah, it's also like fashion, right? It'll be back.
Well, yeah, and then all the bands I like continued to put out records through the 90s and into the 2000s. All those 90s bands fizzled. Mm-hmm. Other than Pearl Jam, all those other bands, they only lasted a couple of years.
Yeah. That was a strange time in music.
Yeah.
It's definitely strange.
Yeah, it was like repeat the same thing 4 times and just repeat the same phrase and just build the intensity, and then that's the chorus or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
it was very specific.
There's stuff that's good. Like Jane's Addiction was, when they were good, man, they were great. I mean, they were the best of them all.
Oh yeah, you think they were the best?
Jane's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had something.
So you're trying to come up. Like, are you comparing yourselves to other bands at that point? You know what I mean?
Well, this band Wild West was a hard rock, heavy metal, long hair, teased a Sunset Strip, kind of, all that shit. I mean, not as like, we're not like Poison or like Tough or one of those kind of bands, but as was the style at the time,
Right. Right.
Long hair, leather jackets, kind of stuff like that.
How are you paying your bills at that time? You still living at home?
Yeah, I'm like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your parents seem really supportive, dude.
Sure.
That's nice.
Sure.
That's nice. Not everybody has that.
Yeah. And then, so after that band, then I got hooked up with some, then it was like grunge time. And it was like, so you started playing guys that, funky Chili Peppers stuff, as was the style at the time.
Right.
And that was my band called Cottonmouth. And then we'd do clubs. Also, there was all these other clubs that weren't on the Sunset Strip. Club Lingerie we played. FM station was down the street. One of these ways. and that was fun. Yeah, and that was good because the band before that was all in the town that I grew up in. This next band was like the guy lived in Van Nuys. So okay, cool. I'm getting out of the town I grew up in. He also had a studio, so he had a board. So we were able to do a lot of we did more recording than we did like playing out live.
Yeah.
So that was good. And again, those things run their course. And then I got in another band called Spoon, which was like an LA band, and they were like in LA. They were like deep, like just almost at downtown kind of areas where we rehearsed.
Okay.
And they were all like, they'd been around the LA scene for a long time.
Did you like rehearsal? I know some people who like to work on themselves alone, kind of like isolationist. And some people who absolutely thrive in the team setting. How were you?
I like them both, but I do a lot of homework before I go in. I don't. Rehearsing, it can be really productive or it can be a complete waste of time.
Mm-hmm.
You get in rehearsal and the guys are going like, so how does that song go? And you're like, dude, you learn the song and then you come into rehearsal. You don't come into rehearsal and start trying to figure it out because you never bothered to learn the song.
That's good advice.
So really always do your homework.
Any other advice for young musicians coming up?
Get in a band and book some shows out of town and get in a van and go do it.
Specifically out of town, you think that's important to kind of...
Absolutely.
Yeah,
go travel. Make it where you don't... Because you can do out of town gigs, but you can still like drive 5-6 hours and still be home. But if you go out and you're staying at people's places or you're getting hotels or you're trying to figure out your way, you're going to figure out really soon whether you like it, and you can figure out who in the band isn't going to be lasting very long.
Yeah.
Because you drive 12 hours play a gig, drive overnight 12 hours to get to the next gig to play to like 15 people that don't even know who your band is.
Right.
And then get in the car and do that again. It's like you're going to figure out really fast if this is for you. Yeah,
there's this old saying, you could know somebody for 3 years, but if you really want to know them, go on a 3-day road trip.
Sure.
I totally agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does not confine spaces.
Yeah, because if you're doing gigs, even again out of town, you can play Arizona, you can do Vegas, but you can still technically drive home that night. Mm-hmm. You can still be in your bed by the end of the night. Did
you have one tour when you were just coming up, like like you're saying, like get in a van and go out of town? Do you have one that sticks out in your mind, like just the greatest one?
Not the greatest one, but I guess chronologically, I got in this band Spoon, and then now I'm driving down to downtown LA. Okay, cool. I'm getting a little farther away from my town. Before it was Van Nuys, now LA. And we played a couple shows like in San Diego, where else? San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So those were my first times kind of driving up to places like that. But again, we'd still go play and then drive overnight back home. The first tour I ever did was this band called the Joy Killer. They were a band on Epitaph. They needed a drummer, and the lead singer was Jack Grisham, who was in TSOL. It's a legendary punk band.
Love him.
So I got in that band, played some out-of-town shows, and then we did a tour with the Offspring. Offspring was on their second record.
Oh, wow.
The second record just came out, Ixnay on the Hombre.
That was peak.
So we did an East Coast tour with them for 2 weeks that started in like, I can't remember exactly, but the New England area, and then made its way down to like the South to Atlanta, and kind of ended in like Texas. I think we probably did a couple shows on the way back.
Okay.
And that was my first tour I ever did, and I was green as green can be. I mean, and I'm with guys that have been doing this for a long time.
Right.
So, and I see it now when we tour with other bands, and somebody who's on their first tour, and you just see it, just.
Was it self-doubt? Did you?
No, you just don't know. You ask stupid questions. You just do stupid things that are just rookie. You just make tons of rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
And I hope I wasn't too annoying, but the guys were nice. But again, they had been doing this so long, and they had been through a couple different drummers, so I never looked at it like, they had a problem with me or something. It was just like they were just kind of over having drummers.
Yeah, over the young stuff.
Over just the getting a new drummer kind of stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I did that, and then after that, maybe a few months after that was when I got in Ignite, and that would have been the summer of '97.
Okay.
July 5th, '97.
Okay.
When I joined Ignite.
Are you the type of person who, when something like that happens, you celebrate it? Like, you know what I mean? Was that like an accomplishment of yours to join that band? And
To join Ignite?
Yeah.
No, I mean, yes, but no. I told my friends I was going to go audition for this band Ignite.
Yeah.
And I liked the music. I liked because the singer sang, and I liked hardcore and everything. But this one was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of the stuff I kind of grew up on. Like, I wouldn't say metal, but there's this singer. He's in key. He's singing. It's melodic. So my audition was I had to pick up the singer in like Burbank, and then we drove down to Fountain Valley, and we got to the place where they rehearsed, which was like bass player's old boss's machine shop or something. He just let him like rehearse in the back. And so I drove the singer down there. The guitar player showed up. He didn't have an amp. So I jammed with the bass player. They didn't even have a PA. I don't even know if they had a PA, but I jammed with the bass player through like 2 or 3 songs. I had everything all charted out, like a whole like 10 songs or something. We jammed through 2 or 3 songs, and they're like, all right, cool. And before that, they were even saying like, we have this tour with Agnostic Front. So, and it's almost like okay, if you're barely competent on the drums, you got the gig because we got this tour coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So when I came back, it wasn't like high five celebration with my friends of like, dude, I did it. I got the big gig. It's like, they go, how was it? I'm like, the singer. Well, I had to like pick up the singer and drive him down there, and then the guitar player had no amp, and I just jammed with the bass player, and it was just, it was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
But then I got the gig.
And at that point, did you celebrate it?
Yeah, once we got on tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it was like, these guys are really cool. It wasn't like with the previous band where kind of dudes that just they've been doing this a long time. But with Ignite, it was like fun. I was like, oh, these guys are really fun, corny and funny, and we stopped for food, which was really pretty cool. The previous band, we never stopped for food on the tour.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, no, it was serious. I hate when people say yeah, no, or no, yeah. So I apologize for that. Yeah, we never stopped for food. I remember one time there was a Denny's because it was next to the hotel, but it was always just gas station.
Right.
I lit up like potato chips and orange juice for like 2 weeks.
Oof.
It was really strange, yeah. But again, I'm going, I guess this is just how it works.
Right.
And with Ignite, it's like, wow, we're stopping for food. Awesome. And like we're joking around, and the shows were fun, and Agnostic Front, all those guys were really cool. It was the reunion of the original lineup, the Victim in Pain lineup. So it was Vinny and Roger, and it was Jimmy and Kabula, and it was really cool. It was a lot of fun.
That's
It was now I know when I celebrated when I got home from the tour, when we finished in like Santa Barbara, and then I got dropped off at my house and putting my bags down, and like I think I got a new CD of some band or something. I put it on. It was like all of a sudden like kind of the memories of the last 2 weeks came rushing back, and it was just like yes, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like this is the feeling it's supposed to be. That was like fun with your friends.
And so it was kind of came natural. But do you think that it came natural because you also got like you tasted the sour before you got the sweet?
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's probably so important to just be able to stand each other, let alone also make good music.
Yeah, it gets really tough when you can't stand each other.
Yeah.
I mean, you figure out ways to work around it.
What are some of those ways?
You just avoid each other.
Well, that'll work. You got a big kid in front of you, so it's probably easier for you.
Yeah, or you figure out ways to not. It's obviously if you're a really popular band, then everybody just has their own bus. They have their own dressing rooms.
Right.
They make sure everybody's separated. But yeah, when you're not getting along in a band, it's a weird thing because if you get in arguments with somebody, then literally 2 seconds later you're like, okay, so where are we gonna go eat? Because everybody's got to eat at the same time.
It's like a family, yeah.
Yeah. I lost my toothbrush. You got a toothbrush I can borrow? Do you have an extra one? After I just called you whatever. I'm not going to cuss, but so yeah, you definitely have to get like a hard shell and let stuff just drip off you, and you're kind of supposed to have those arguments.
Did that come naturally for you, or is that something you had to work on, like people skills?
These guys, it was pretty natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're always busting each other's balls.
Well, you got to do that, dude.
Yeah.
Can't laugh at yourself.
I guess that's what I mean by arguing or something like that.
Yeah.
You're arguing, but there's still a little level of humor in it.
Mm-hmm.
You never really dig deep, you know, like.
Yeah. At no point did you feel like you were maybe, how to phrase this, kind of in over your head? Did you always feel like you belonged?
With Ignite, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I liked punk rock when the first kind of wave came around. We were all into like Black Flag and Circle Jerks and PSOL and all that stuff. And then, yeah, this time around, it's like I knew of hardcore. I had the guys in Strife were friends of mine. We grew up in the same town. I mean, I knew when we started seeing these bands, it's like I understood what was going on. It was cool because kids were just jumping all over each other. It was like, wow, this is the way it should be. And then like Pennywise. But so for a little while, I kind of felt like a fraud going like somebody's going to find me out that like, you don't listen to this kind of music. You're into heavy metal. What the hell? But then it's kind of drumming wise. It's almost the same thing. Yeah. In a way where like punk rock, the beat in punk rock is kind of the same as the beat in metal. It's just a different bass drum thing. Like where punk rock is like do-ba, 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 do-ba. Metal's like, you know, double bass.
Yeah.
Same with the guitar, you know. I guess guitar's like and heavy metal's like
right.
It's all just playing fast.
It's all play fast, yeah. Playing fast, thinking fast, living fast. The dream.
So luckily I was never found out. And then
don't worry, nobody will know.
Yeah. Well, then you finally assimilate it in where people are like, wow. So then, so we Ignite, we did that. Went to Europe. That was my first time in Europe. And
how old were you first time in Europe?
Well, we were in 98. I do math. Like 26, 27, I think.
It's perfect age. Because you're like kind of over the bar scene already, but you're still ready to go to the bars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then going to Europe, obviously, the first time is like, it's just another world.
And you guys are really popular in Europe.
Yeah, the band was already popular. That was one of the good things. I already got in a band that had already been to Europe a couple times.
So those were
bigger. There was already an audience.
I was going to say those were bigger crowds.
Yeah, and we did this tour called the Flying High Across the Sky Tour. And it was Suicidal Tendencies were headlining, a band called Thumb, which was a really popular band in Europe. Kind of like a Rage Against the Machine, downset, you know, kind of groove metal, 90s, kind of rap rock kind of band. Klaus Grabke was the singer. He's a famous skateboarder. Okay, and there's a couple other bands. Breeze. There's some other bands on the tour as well.
Yeah.
And that was that first show where it was in Cologne at the Live Music Hall, and we came out and we start, and then we kick into the first song, and that's when like the blinders went on, and I just see like people. I was really like, this is the first time I'd ever like played clubs and stuff like that, but you know, they're all kind of up close and it's dark. And this is the first time it was like audience, like here's a crowd of a concert, like an actual concert, you know, like when I go see concerts or when I would watch videos when I was a kid or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember that as kind of like a little eye opener of just like, awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. When you say eye opener, was it like,
like this is great.
Yeah, like it wasn't
awesome.
You didn't meet that with fear. You met that.
No,
with
this was like yes, this is what it should be like. I mean, some people, I don't know. I'm sure some people, when there's a huge audience out there, they're like, wow, there's a lot of people, and I always look at it like, yeah, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're trying to do here, right?
Right. Yeah. That's so amazing that the world is that. Even then, the world was that small where like you could go to a place that felt so far away for you, probably, right? It's literally a foreign country.
Yeah, but then all the bands that I liked were from Germany and from Europe. So there was that little added element of oh, this must be where the obviously naively you're thinking like, this is where the guys in the band that I like, they must have been on this bus.
Right.
They must have been in this dressing room.
Right.
They must have been here.
Yeah, that same feeling when you're on the stage of the Troubadour.
Yeah.
Full circle. Love it.
Yeah.
So what's your process now like? Like, how have you guys been? What do you know, obviously the last year has been absolutely crazy. How have you gotten through?
Last year, we stayed really productive. We started just writing a new record. And we're doing it remotely, you know, where I could record the drums, where I had a drum set, and then send the files to those guys.
Right.
Or they would write a song. guitar player, bass player, or somebody would write a song, the drum machine on it, send it to me. Then they send me a version without the drum machine. So I kind of learned what they wrote, do my own embellishments, figure things out, and then I could do a pass with me playing drums on what they wrote, send it back to them. One guy starts putting vocals on it or something, or makes little revisions or edits.
Right.
And we were doing it that way, which to me is like a lot more productive than just starting in a rehearsal room.
Oh, so you liked it?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can hear what everybody's playing.
Right.
When you're in a rehearsal room, it's like, and you're like, I think he's playing this kind of thing. And then when you actually get to a point where you record, you're like, wait, that's what you've been playing the whole time?
Yeah. We were talking earlier about technology. That is the ultimate best use of technology.
Yeah, because I can hear the guitar. I can just listen to what the guitarist doing, hear the picking patterns, and hear strumming, and be like, okay, now I know. Like I can get the bass drum and the snare drum kind of working with that.
Yeah.
And that part where he does a pick slide, that's a good part for a snare roll or for a tom fill.
Yeah. We're taking everything out of this pandemic. Do you think you'll do that more in the future? Like now that it worked so well for you, is it something you want to continue to do?
I like doing it that way.
Yeah.
But also you need to, when we're in the stage where we're at the end of that process, then you need to get in and start rehearsing.
Right.
And start just shaking the thing up and loosening things up, because obviously things are going to feel different when you're actually playing them than when you just recorded them on your own.
Yeah.
Some bands can do it. I did a record with a friend of mine we did that exact same process, and then it was like, okay, this is the album, go in and record the drums. And I went into the studio, recorded them, sent it to them. Like it was like follow the blueprint.
The blueprint.
So that we never were in the same room together.
Right.
But the album sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't sound that way.
Huh.
It's kind of like it's like if you did like a construction metaphor. It's like, okay, one guy's the plumber, one guy's the electrician. Everybody's got blueprints. Run all your stuff, and if everything works out, if everybody did their job right, put it all on top of each other, everything lines up. And then the friend of mine whose album I did, it was his solo record. So his main band, that's the way they've been doing it for decades.
That makes sense.
Some bands can do it. Some bands make it work, and it doesn't sound off. Some bands do it, and you can hear it.
What do you mean?
You could just hear that nobody was in the room together. You know. Sometimes you just hear that, like the interplay between the drums and guitars or vocals or something like that. You can just hear it. Also, if you read the liner notes and you see that, like, the vocals recorded it, so, and you get some clever name for some guy's office at his house, or the guitars are recorded here, or drums, and you're like, okay, everybody just did separate things.
I think that's probably going to be more of the future. More people doing what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to use that technology for their own advantage. Do you have any other advice for people who are trying to do that, where they can't all be together at the same time, but they want to make music?
Whatever you record, and imagine it's going to go on a record tomorrow. Don't record things like, hey, it's just an idea, maybe it's let me know if you like it or not. Record if somebody was like, this, whatever you're recording today is going to be released tomorrow on a record, do it that way.
Yeah, it's like the Quentin Tarantino
thing. Do your best.
Yeah,
do your absolute best.
Yeah,
that you think is the best thing
Tarantino thing is like, no, don't save anything. Use all of your best stuff and the thing you're working on right now.
Yeah,
more good stuff will come.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It saves time, and again, just have that mindset. It's going on a record tomorrow. What you're recording, not just what you're playing. Mm-hmm. The recording quality is going to be on there, so it makes you go on. We're doing GarageBand, but if you had Pro Tools or something like, you're gonna. I need to get better at miking stuff. I don't know how. There's so much stuff I don't know how to do on that stuff, like compression. I have no idea how that stuff works.
Are you interested in it all? Do you
yeah, I'd like to, but I need somebody, because people explain compression to me like, what it does is, how do they explain it? It like squishes down the spikes and whatever, and it's like, but what am I hearing? I'll turn the dial, and I don't know what I'm listening for. Huh. That's the thing with some of those. I am at a rudimentary level of recording. I can do enough to record my drums, have sound decent. You can hear everything, and then as far as writing, that works. But a lot of that other stuff, I don't know what I'm supposed to be hearing. Huh. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. What's your favorite part of the process of just making music in general?
I was playing live.
Live?
Yeah.
So you must miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'll come back.
You miss the road? You miss like the being?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What are some of the best places to travel?
Europe for one.
Yeah, obviously.
That's just a given. I mean, we've had good experiences in every place. We've been to Europe a million times, South America a few times, Japan, Canada, went to Russia a couple times. Only continent we haven't been on is Africa, but I don't know how many hardcore shows there would be there.
You'll knock it out. You'll get down to South Africa at one point.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, the traveling, just the friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, hanging around, seeing. I have friends in other countries that are better, some of the best friends I've ever had. They're better friends than people that I've grown up with my entire life.
Finally, you'll be able to go see them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
It's gonna be real. Well, best of luck, dude. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, man.